dairy goats, but some diversified work as well. And these are my favorite goats so far.
Nice, nice. We have a park nearby, a Maymont, and they use goats to take care of the lawn.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see that as well. We're doing like more open range herding. We have four Australian Kelpie herding dogs.
Wow.
So it's really cool to be able to be out there like on the open range and what feels like their natural environment. And having done dairy work before, I can see how different they are when they can be just in the grasses and in the woods and in the groves
Excellent.
versus, in a barn.
Yeah, yeah, with dirt.
Yeah.
All
Tell us
right.
more about your work, Dorinda.
Well,
Yeah.
it's thrilling, let me tell you. We fix knees, you know, I work in the same day surgery department, so most of the surgeries are elective. So, a lot of joint replacements and so forth. We do have a large population of people on dialysis, so we do a lot of shunts. And then we are a level 1 trauma centers, so we get the stab wounds, the gunshots, the fires. So we get and same day we don't get alphas, but we do get bravos and some. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm being told I need to explain that. An alpha trauma is something that's so bad it goes straight to the OR.
Oh
And
God.
a bravo trauma, you got a couple of hours. They're not gonna, yeah. You can get them set up. You can find out who they are before you roll them in. Yeah.
I would never compare my work to yours, but proximity to death is obviously something that I experience a lot working with live
Yes.
animals.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and I'm sorry, continue.
No. I was just agreeing with you. Yeah, because you and I would both see passing and how it affects. Because the other goats in your herd, they know when someone's gone, and
Absolutely.
obviously the families here know when someone's gone. So,
Yeah, absolutely. It's astonishing to see like with the goats, like a brother losing his brother and just like calling out into the
yeah.
ether for the next several days.
Yep.
And I think a lot about the fact that I haven't experienced a lot of human death yet in my life, but I have experienced so much animal death, and how I hope the lessons that I learned from the work that I'm doing start to apply to my life as I start to lose people as well.
I hope so too, my love. Yeah.
And I hate to interrupt because that is such a d- beautiful conversation, but we'll get to that later. We can continue our little chats later. But I'm going to go ahead and start the recording. We are now live on Facebook. There we go. Welcome everyone on Facebook Live and in our cute little Zoom room here to Poets in Pajamas episode 172, featuring the lovely work of Mukethe Kawinzi and Dorinda Wegener. We are brought to you by Sundress Publications and are bringing the power of cozy, cutesy, pajama, tea-filled, sparkling water poetry right to your living room, bedroom, kitchenette, etc. Such a lovely reading today. We're going to go ahead and get right ahead because we're starting just a few minutes late. Our Zoom, as I was telling Dorinda earlier, Zoom updated and all of our settings got mixed around, and there's all these new icons and new buttons, but everything is all squared away now. And I am so thrilled to introduce our first reader, Mukethe Kawinzi, who is a shepherd whose work has been nominated for the Best of the Net anthology and has appeared in Hobart, Puerto del Sol, and Obsidian. Her chapbook, Saanens, Nubians, won lamancha from 2022, won the quarterly list West Chapbook Contest. Her micro chapbook, Rut 2022, was published as part of Ghost City Press's summer series. She herds goats on the open range in coastal California. Mukethe, whenever you're ready.
Farmhand longs for love from above. Thought regaling twilight with porch-grown ukulele melodies would suffice to lure some fowl over, but since experience proves otherwise, here goes. Me, beat up, but not beat down. Brown skin, brown eyes, short fade from whichever farm homie was last willing to take clippers to my head, which is to say, not exactly lined up. A lot like my teeth, which are crooked too. You, winged, wise, with a weakness for blues bars, bitter beers, bedfast Sunday mornings with Gil Scott Heron in the background and the Believer in the foreground. Let's read Tu Fu in summer on Chicken Bone Beach. Let's take it no pressure slow and save spilling of traumas for the fourth day. Scratch that, the fourth year, scratch that. Let's found our own language of throated laughter and glee-spun vespers, commit to strong sapper wharf and never invent the word trauma. Let's not exchange signs. Occasional flitting from spruce to spruce, quoting Bernie, Mac, not Sanders, although the latter does not necessarily offend, required. Must love goats. Dream first date? Come over for fancy suet. I already bought the one, cost $0.25 more at the Tractor Supply, your half, and the hanging feeder awaits. I'll be on the other side. Pretend pecking a seed cake, bobbing with unhurried hope for avian adoration to fly into my life. I don't need much. I live real simple already, serene and smiling, long as I got a roof over my head. Maybe not even that, fine with you. Twigs, dried straw, twine, roll remains will do. Call me. Hello, again, my name is Mukethe Kawinzi. I herd goats out in Pescadero, California, and I have been farming for about 4.5 years now. Something I have been saying recently is that my time farming has offered me the poetry of the natural world and the poetry of a life lived alongside animals, but it has lacked the poetry of people. And in recent months, I have found myself spending time in urban space again, most significantly San Francisco. And I have been enjoying what it is to experience intimacy with humans again. Woman. I would have told her, Ceanothus, blue blossomed overnight, except slow is how we are taking it. Slow as siltstone sets, slow as spring lambs slogging through bush, slow as a banana slug might slide through sprouted yarrow. Every poppy I passed today was open. I wanted to tell her, to ask, how gold does trefoil come in outside your terrace? How many monarchs, mounting sun cup, did you count? Did pink petal, did balm of heaven make it down your throat? I would have, except she dumped me for a man. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. It's good. It's good to reintroduce yourself into the world. Get your heart roughed up a little bit. I still see your shadows in my room. I'm kidding. Shout out to Juice WRLD. Okay, speaking of queer desire, something that I was seeking and something that I very immediately got from physical labor, manual labor, was a certain genderlessness. I was tired of femininity, wanted to get rid of it, and using my body every day does make me feel genderless, which I really appreciate. But I also work with livestock animals. And so I have the reality of sexual dimorphism in front of my face every day. These are the male animals and these are the female animals, and you separate them at this time of year for these reasons. But I also, along the way, have met a few animals who transcend the binary. And this is an ode to them, entitled Trans Icons from the Farm. I'm all read up on Franz de Waal and Temple Grandin, long since well convinced of animal consciousness. Herein, I contend, their ontologies too are more complicated than we give due for. Nature simplifies, yes, but does not flatten. Out on the ranch, stock is male, possibly fixed, or female. Cattle, bulls, cows, castrated steers. Bandit cut buck goats are wethers, and their ladies you know as does. A stallion loses its testes and turns the gelding, who can then no longer mate with the mare. And aside, never trust a bull, I've been told. A ram either. Any male animal, I've been told, uncastrated, is a threat. Lo, let us move into the gray. Come, pull up a mound of bare earth, and let me make tale of Buddy, a hen who decided to be a rooster one day among the retired Easter eggers in a broody old silky, the most skittish caprine I ever had acquaintance of was a hermaphrodite. Testicles, a vulva, and a shaggy, soft, butch body right at the intersection of doe and buck. I happen to know a female stock dog who pees like a boy, leg, cock stoic, and sunward. And then there's Fern. I watched Fern recast her body male in real time with my old two eyes. I did. I put her in a pen with the other doling sorted off for slaughter, and she shook off womanhood hasty, spitting wild flemening to the fading moon, fur puffed and pawing like mad. The others scattered helter-skelter as she mounted them, topped them, one by one, over and over. You icons of spectrum, give me some. Share in your gifts. Y'all who conjure tea from vapor, give me some, trade me. This stale human inelasticity for the breathtaking mutability of the imminent. Trans animals. It's a real thing. And they inspire me. Okay. I am going to read two more poems. They are both from my chapbook, Saanens, Nubians, One Lamancha. Speaking of trans icons, trans poetry icon, T.C. Tolbert was the judge of this contest and said that the collection serves as a corrective to the white supremacist canon of eco-poetics, end quote. It's not really a big deal. Yes, it is. Ego, no ego, no ego. But I do like to refer to this as my collection of poems about racial alienation, mortality, and goats. And it chronicles my first 6 months farming at a little raw goat milk dairy right at the Florida-Georgia border in a little town called Palmetto. It was a fascinating time of my life and the beginning of how I now live. So the last two poems that I'm going to read are the last two poems in the chapbook. The first is the fourth in a series in the chapbook that sort of discusses what it felt like to adapt to physical labor for the first time, the feeling of the constant dissolution of the body when one is doing physical labor on a daily basis. And the second is about my name, which is Mukethe, but the 6 months that I spent on that farm was the first time that I was exclusively referred to by the nickname of Max, which alongside the other racialized experiences that I was having living in rural America during a pandemic in 2020 was quite alienating and really felt like it was detaching me from some really fundamental parts of my identity. Two more poems. Thank you, Sundress. Thank you, Dorinda. So excited to hear you read. Thank you to everyone in the world who makes art. Thank you to everyone in the world who supports art. I think it might actually save us. And thank you, of course, to the goats in the grass. Okay. Bloodsport, 4. What wants to be vased less than a milk thistle. So richly barbed, sea chefs. So unsubtle its desire to stay grounded. I cut one from the bull's eatage before it is to be mowed still. I am sorted. The bloom is bulbous, worth the pricks, plump and plucky and golden for a fortnight. I admire it first thing upon entering. I am happy. I can cut something from the earth and feel it living all the same. After 2 weeks, a fusillade of cottony, feathery flower heads rove the whole small hand house, suspended by late day breath through the window screens. How I want to say hundreds, dozens is more likely. Your favorite poem, the one which ends, but if I stepped out of my body, I would break into blossom, is manifest, and I am chilled. I am stupefied. The air is sown. The seed pods are waiting. Most, with the encouragement of a soft sweep or whisk outside, anchor themselves to hollows from which next season they will be birthed. Others are ivory canaries, sneaky plumes captured by webs I've been down low reviling. I move my broomwork to the ceilings, taking down spider homes, the mansions too, Brobdingnagian masterpieces with a pot-belly fly stodged in each room, shredding my promise to leave their homes and my home unbothered. They broke the truce first. I've been waking up to scratched open duos of tiny teeth marks, most recently next to my nipple, that being the last straw. Here was my excuse. These swirling seeds stuck in their weavings, their fine-spun dwellings, the good and the poisonous castaway, exile the whole lot. Word that they'd left me unpierced. My breast, whose skin claims one small leaf of peanut hay, at least. Gray-green, the end of every day, my breasts, I thought could make it out of here high and unmarked. Other times, more times, I think about dying, about senescence and other endings. The mortal waning of the body, becoming unbodied, my body, lumbering toward the day, it will break down into blossom. Nomenclature, determinative and otherwise. My God, 100%? Shame on me. I let these white people call me Max for 6 whole ass months. Me, at my most Negro meek, straight up hapless. Up here, I feed everybody. Mix up the wet food with the dry for the dogs who leave half behind for the rooster. Cut down pear tree branches for Cocoa Puff. So thick and tired, she stay laid up, prayed up, hoping she don't get bread again, never browses, but still sniffs, sneers, and rejects a full quarter of the hand-delivered leaves. Kicked up all kind of feasts for the house. Gone moon to moon, making tea time sweet treats, lemon time blondies, mango coconut ice cream, cajeta iced coffee, chocolate cognac snickerdoodles one time. I cultured my own goddamn creme fraiche. Eat my food, but can't give me one day without, I need to be fed too. I need to be fed too. Trust. Next time, I'm forcing Afri from the jump. Hit him with the IPA transcription if necessary, even. Might make him say first, middle, last, reparations for Max, Max, Max. Say my name. Say my name. Say a Kenyan flew from the village to fish, sent back whales, electricity, a bathroom inside, a TV inside. Skip what he didn't do for me. Say it. Say my name. Say no, I don't fuck with the Lion King. Due to the fact that the kids that year would not stop calling me Mufasa. I would have minded less if they had listened to my Swahili lessons, e.g., listen up. Simba means lion and Rafiki is baboon. Say my name. Say no, it ain't Kiki with a moo. Even in a poem about all names matter, I have to ask, what kind of fucked up name he would be? Say my name, say no, I ain't got no nickname. No, you're not gonna call me Mookie or Muke or Thay or Moo or Mook. They have tried it with me my whole life. Do you see why I tried to get in front of this shit with Max, 100% shame on y'all call me Max for 6 whole ass months. Next time. And the 9-year-old on the new farm said he couldn't pronounce it. Said, can he call me Max? I told him he could say it. And he did after one try. And he does. He and his brother and his sister who are only 2. And their mama and their daddy and their grandmom and their auntie and their cousin and their other auntie and the 2 guys who help out with the milking, the rancher who tugs off the way some girl who stopped by to buy robiola, all of them. They even say, and is it a hard T or a th sound? That's polite. That's how I know. These type of white people, I might be able to stand, but I want to understand white folk. So let me send up one last prayer. Lord, let there be more color folk on this journey of my life. Please, oh Holy One, some Negroes on this road. Please, some dirt brown comfort to come home to ambushed, some soup that look like peanut butter, my bones. Please, I cannot be at sea on these farms forever. Please, a sip, even, please, even a drop. Thank you. Thanks. You guys are nice.
Oh my gosh. All right. We're going to sit in it. I'm feeling it.
Damn.
It's still here.
Yo, they got me angry.
We got to give it some of these. Got to give it some of that.
You
Oh
should have
my
told me you were
gosh.
going to bring it like that. Damn.
Um, this is a little behind the scenes for those interested in how the curation process goes. For the coordinators of Poets in Pajamas, we ask folks to send in a little video recording of their readings. And Mukethe sent in a lovely recording. And then I can imagine like sent that in and was like, all right, but when I get accepted, I'm gonna double down on that about 15 times over. I'm gonna bring the heat so hard. Uh, Goodness, Mukethe, thank you so much for that reading. That was amazing, funny, devastating, a whole journey that only you could take us on. Thank you so much. Um, that takes us to our halfway point. I see y'all out there. I know that you have some questions that you would like to ask Mukethe about craft, about poems, about life, etc. Go ahead and write them down. But you can't ask them right now because you know what's coming up next. Another fabulous reading of none other than Dorinda Wegener. Dorinda Wegener is a Perianesthesia certified registered nurse in Richmond, Virginia, where she resides with her family. Wegener has had work published in many journals, including Indiana Review, THRUSH, Hunger Mountain Review, Hayden's Ferry Review, and Berkeley Poetry Review, as well as within Poet Showcase and Anthology of New Hampshire Poets from Hobblebush Books, and lingering in the margins, a River City Books anthology from Suey Books. Four Fields 2024 is her debut poetry collection from Trio House Press, which I believe is available for pre-order right now. Is that right, Dorinda?
It came out July 1st. You can buy it and you don't have to wait. Just
Dorinda, you can go whenever you're ready.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me start my timer because, neurodivergence. So let me bring that up. Oh, to heck with it. It's not working. There we go. Start. I'm going to be reading a selection from Four Fields, and I hope you guys like it. That's what I got. So I'm going to start with I write you with the intention of amendment. Because you were a court berry basket filled with silver bells, and I was the dried carrion carried by crows. Because you were a fig tree with new roots, and I a garden of snakes, because you were a purse of gold coins, the last land of lands. I have palmed this prayer in my pocket till it turned to stone, and you housed this stone in your heart until it turned to hardwood. I have orphaned myself from the word, mother. The ox-eye daisies pass the stiff asters as the bees jump rabbit-foot clover, cone to cone, stitching the season late is how I finished the family sampler. To cover the next generation's hope chest, I need to scavenge the mother-daughter sentiment from years of burnt eggs and runny oat, for I am done arguing over tongues and the scorn of steel wool. Matriarch of the vine which scurries with myths unseen, we have nursed through hunger's red music. I create a new name from your metronym and now understand. Mama, I write you with the attention of amendment, with thrift to thrive penances, green as forgiveness, trepid as love. This is the title poem. It's in 4 parts. I'll just pause between the parts. Four Fields. Every winter home to the farm taken by marsh thistle and wineberry. At the silo door, the family eidolon absolves me my stock paper and indelible ink, a lifeline born from the tureen of their eyes, cold soup, skinned. My sister is always a rabbit, my other a grizzly. I am a black swan nested. Survival is the dream of a cicada mid-air, a mass for the lost moon. Here is the first of 40 days, the crop rent by runnels in sidereal time, mother in early spring for her spade, riven by rocks is found clay-clad and weeping. What is blood among blood? What are locusts from the hands of God? In his Sunday suit, the oldest son remains plot-side. My brother, he is music not of the hand. He is our father's headstone and glass decanter, raised to the ergot sheaves, rose to the lip of the wind. This one, I dabbled a little, well, I shouldn't say I dabbled. I'm trying to write more prose poems. And this is a prose poem. It has 3 characters. It has 3 characters in it. And I'll just kind of do little quotes so you know when the 3 characters are coming along. Scene with apparitions. I'll cut your goddamn eyes out. Empties her tumbler to muddle at your hip, softly arcing her olive branches, but do not fall for this thigh trick. Continue to pull out your chest hairs one by one with your finger and thumb, filling the sink's metal yawn with wires and cross wires until the shock of it all wakes the go-between child who runs their tin cup across cabinets, rattles the plates and mugs from their shelves, ceramics scatter on the floor, carpals, metacarpals, phalanges. You remember a time when the spirit of who your mother was, but is not now, lifted you in her arms and pointed to the door and said, see this? This is my blood. And this. And this. And now, under the halogen round, the knives break in a blade song, for they love this story with all their teeth. They riot their block, want you bare-chested and blind, but you are done with ghosts. You walk right out, leaving bleached flour on the threshold and an anklet of crimson cord tied in 9s around iron bells for this sinner's scene, this sweet recollection that cuts a conscience clean. I'm gonna keep on keeping on. We're gonna move out of childhood, and as a nurse, you end up caring for your parents when they fade and pass. So we're moving out of childhood and we're moving into caregiving. The most melancholic key. My lineage knows how to load a gun, knows how to work the screw and vise, how to trim the fat and wield the knife. I'd like to talk to you about my mother in current light. The pounding piano chords which cut to strings and Balmoret's the winter, yet she died in fall of fall, then fall. And I don't know if it's cello or violin. I would have once had faith, and I don't know what will come out of the pudding or out in the wash. I need no tears, only the blood serum levels, the toxicology report. I want every pill counted, every cell, each biochemical compound, 5-carbon sugar ring accounted for, proof. Why did you have to die? What a ridiculous line. Like her cellular clock was to continue its metronome, regardless of springs or the laws of energy. To persist, that's what mothers and myths do. Leave no wedding stones, stick to guns, yet question theories, retest, repeat, refute, the shortening days, the telomeres, nucleotide sequence on DNA strands, rendered tallow with wicks too lost to ignite. And this must be violin, for it has whipped to a wail things my mother loved and let go. Brass bells, pewter plates and bowls, owl feathers, all her fire opals. The cardiologist gave a clean bill of health. Mother was spent with cleanliness and cliches. Time she was done with, her aging self ended. Coda, my doubt, strung in C sharp minor, D flat. You guys doing okay out there? Yeah, okay, cool. I'm checking my time. All right, sweet. All right. My dad was my best friend. My dad was really awesome. I'm very fortunate to have him. He passed from dementia, and I have a sequence of animal poems. I just lost my place. I'm gonna do one of my favorites for him. It's a poem for my father on snakes. Just now, a sudden tang of smoke, though no one in this house has burned in a while. I am having a hard time. This morn, suited in its best ash, its length mastered that of the longboards. Your shadow, getting done the things it needs to get done. I think the sound of scales passing through the underbrush fathers a different voice than the passing of a paw. The spirit around the cold blood has a heft heavier than air weighted with my own associations, like something before, ancient. Someone outside of the right hand, like a breathtaking hymn cast out. And before I roll into my last two poems, I want to read some new stuff. So I'm going to read something from the new projects. So now that this book is out, I can relax a little and access some of the nursing. So this is one of the nursing poems. And the next book will be researching my ancestry, because I only know my grandparents. My father was an orphan, so I don't know anything outside of one generation above me. And then the nursing poems. And this is called The Nurse Will Add a Hotline Number to Your Phone. Sclera, from Greek, scleros, means hard. Like time, that invisible stalker who follows, danger or dominance. Do you get defensive wounds from door jams? There's a certain type of tear in the flesh that tattles trauma over clumsiness. Knuckles always tell who got one in, who got one back. ER docs, careless lovers, no need. For lidocaine, staples hair down with laceration. It all scabs and scars over. Discharge with iodine solution to flush out. No one discusses asphyxiation stains. I cannot make you confess. Enlarged in searing white, wide below the iris, sclera. How close it sounds to terror. So that's one of the new ones. So that was my time. I did some service in the ER. I did my capstone in the ER and excuse the swearing, but the shit you would see come through the doors. So, and there's only so much you can do. You can't push. So this one is for my dad. The last two are for my dad. So 2 poem warning, then I'm done. All right. The speed of light does not follow any acceptable form of logic. My father is outside the locked ward and my sister. Both my sisters and my brother. Our father keeps his coat on at all times. My father is in a world where I am his mother. My husband is the man from the laundromat. And my brother-in-law is the man from the bank. The light we can see in tonight's sky is from stars already left. The light we can see in the coat. The nurses at the locked ward will jump and quickly run the length of their stations to sound the alarm. When my father left this world, he stayed in this world. He will not be in this world again. Everyone wants him to be locked in the ward with his coat, except for him. Our father is unhappy here. Father wants to be folded into a neat, tight triangle of stars, the light we can see. It is tired. It has traveled a very long way. It wants to come in and remove its coat. And then the last poem is in 4 parts, and I'll just pause in between them. And I didn't say my thank yous because I'm a rude rabbit raccoon. My gosh, guys, I can't express how much this reading has meant to me, really. Like, thank you for accepting my work. Thank you for letting me be here. Yeah, I love all y'all. Thank you. Okay. The threshing floor. So the threshing floor. Goats were pouring forth their pure milk, anemones were piercing the road's rib, lice were biting, the seers gathered in gawk, almonds were blanching in bowls of cure, teeth were breaking gum or falling out, breath was fouling close to necks to ears, tongues were separating themselves, houses were massing their shadows' length. Letters were uniting into Lenten plots. Who do you believe me to be? Is not the same as who do you say that I am? A gravel path raked by death dragging is the same as a bloom on the staff of life. Wheatgrass covers the field where once switchblade and broom sage grew, big and little blue stem, wild rye. The word preserve in late Latin means to keep in advance of coming rose, soft red winter, your brother, an ancient grain, our ancestors' roots not native to this soil. The devil hath desired to sift us as wheat. Tillers and main stem, cut down, sickle, then scythe, then reaper binder, the wheat flail working loose the berries, the wind a whistle through the straw as the sparrow shrieks. This land, before fallow field or cultivated crop, before stolen and bloodshed, before we forced our own history upon it, before we faithfully answered, who do you believe me to be, before our weaknesses were revealed in the winnowing and we falsely witnessed, who do you say that I am? Let us relearn Latin. Relearn, as in conserve, to keep together. May the land take us to breast. May the land carry us under her arm as if we were omers of wheat to sieve and knead into a rough-hewn bowl. May the land leave us out to prove. May we rise together by grace. Thank you, guys. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dorinda. I've been struggling to keep it together for 20 minutes now. After Mukethe's reading, I was like, you got this, you got this. Like, you're doing good, you're doing good. Don't fall apart. Oh, okay. We're good. We're good.
Did the
Okay.
two of us bring it or what? No one knows
Yeah.
What the heck?
I done like a little mental preparation, but
Also,
oh,
people weren't here for necessarily this, but we weren't supposed to read together. Oh my God. Thank you, Fates. Thank
Yes.
you, Fates.
yes,
Thank you,
the
universe. What?
really
I know,
did.
right?
Dorinda, I know. Sis, can you just run it back on replay and just read it all again?
No, not. I will if you do. I will if you do.
um, both, thank you both so much. Really, I mean, just a unbelievable reading. We say that every time because it's always true, but I'm really feeling it this time. Someone in the comments said earlier, I'm really feeling these poems right now, and truly, I think tonight of all nights, these poems are so perfect for at least my soul. I won't speak for everyone else here, but I feel like I can almost speak for everyone else. We will now move into the Q&A portion of the evening. If y'all have a question that you would like to ask one of our readers or both of our readers, you may do so. You can join with audio or video or both or neither and ask. You can throw your question in the chat and we will ask on your behalf, or you can just sit there and soak in the beautiful words that you have heard. The first question that we always like to ask our readers is, generally speaking, what have you been obsessed with recently? This does not have to have anything to do with poetry or literature or art, although I find most things can be tied to art, or you can find art in all things. But what has been really getting you going recently? Wherever you see it, Mukethe, we'll start with you first, whenever you got something, and then Dorinda.
So I mentioned this in my reading that I have started to spend time in a city again. That city is San Francisco, which I live an hour and some change south of. And it's the first time since I started farming 4.5 years ago that I've like re-engaged with urban space, and I thought I was completely done with it. I was living essentially in Miami before I started farming, and before that in Philadelphia. So that's what my life has been. And I thought I wanted to leave it behind forever. I'm committed to this life of farming. I'm committed to this life of rural living. I'm going to continue with that. But I have discovered that I do need to be around other people of color some of the time. I do need to be around queerness. I do need to be around art. I do need to be embedded within community. And the way that the Bay is talked about, now that I'm spending a little bit of time out there, like when I tell you I'm obsessed with the Bay, I'm obsessed with the Bay. People are out there looking out for each other. People are out there being fully punk, being fully hip hop, making their own art and building community. It is beautiful to see. I cannot wait to continue to be a part of that space, to continue to contribute to that space. And I just feel like there's some beauty in the fact that I was allowed to like take the break that I needed from the world. And now I get to reinsert as a stronger person, as a better person, and like uplift the communities that I've always really cared about. Shout out to the Bay. Shout out to E40. Shout out to Bob Kaufman. Shout out to the Mission. Shout out to the Tenderloin. Like the people who have kept spaces like that going are absolutely magical. And I'm in love. Dorinda.
All right, well, I don't have anything that intelligent to say, but I would say that we complement because I'm going the opposite way. I have a shoulder injury at the moment, so I am not at work. And I have gone in the opposite direction. I have been obsessed with being at my desk, being with books, being quiet, being alone, being in my head, being writing, listening. I also have obsession from when I was a child. I like to go on walks, and because I have ADHD, I see things, and so I collect treasures. So I'm obsessed with my treasures. Like, look at this. Somebody threw this out. Who would throw this out? I found this on the side of the road, and I love it. And I found these dice. Look at, I'm like a little ADHD rabbit raccoon. It's like kindergarten. I found these dice. I had to dig them out of the dirt, but I saw them. So that's what I'm obsessed with, just absolutely being quiet, reading, writing, which I haven't done in a very long time, and just walking and looking for treasures. Yep. Not intelligent at all. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, there's something so beautiful and like primordially intelligent about the wisdom of like that childlike fascination with just being and looking. I mean, the ability to have the awareness as to like look down to recognize something as cute as those little
Yeah.
treasures. I think that is its own wisdom.
I have jars full of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Tenderloin, shout out E40. I agree.
Yes.
San
Yeah.
Francisco is so cool. Such an underrated place, even though I feel like it does get its flowers, but it's still so amazing. Whole Bay Area.
Yeah.
Thank you both for answering. I will now pass over to my co-coordinator Gardner for the official Gardner question.
Yes. Anyone who's been here before knows what I'm about to ask, but my favorite question to ask our readers is what medium do you tend to write in, especially a first draft, and whether that's like phone notes, pen and paper, Google Pages, Word doc. I want to know, how do you write, and how does that inform the way you write, and does that inform the content, and does that inform the blanking on the word, but the form? Yes.
Do you want me to go first this time? Okay. For 4 fields, everything first drafts and free writes and so forth were single subject notebooks with a certain type of pencil, because I love the sound pencil. I love the sound graphite makes on the paper, that scritch, scritch, scratch. I just, there's something so auditory about it. And it would really help. The drafts would be handwritten again and again and again. I would even meter out by hand. And for 4 fields, I would go to the computer only when it came time for form, because it's so much easier to manipulate on a machine than rewriting form. For the new work, and I've had to trust this, and I've had to let go, and I've had to relearn how to, basically writing is now teaching me. I've had to sit down, shut up, and listen to how writing wants to be done now. I hardly get the first draft down or the bones down before the external pressure, the screaming to go to the computer. So I find with the nursing poems, even though they are of the body and in the body, they're on the computer within the first draft. And thank God for Google Docs, because like I can go back, like if I change something and I'm like, oh crap, it was better the other way, I can just go back. So.
Yeah, so I'm still like learning what writing is. Just to give like a little bit of history for me, the chapbook that I read from, so I left to go farm, and a person that I used to know in my pre-farming life, as I was leaving my first farm and moving to my second farm, said, "You should try to write some poems about the farm that you were on." And in my head, I said, "That's a silly idea. I don't know what writing is." And I had set for myself this intention of specifically creative practice and not holding myself back because I don't know how. So I had made some other non-writing things at that point, and then I was like, okay, someone said I should try to write, so I'm going to try to write. And as I started to write these poems, I was like, I weirdly think there's something here I don't really understand. And so all of my like first little farm poems are in my like farm notebook and scattered in between how to give a shot to a goat, or how to administer a certain type of medication, or what you can do if like a goat baby comes out not breathing, or like what I needed to like complete that day, or the hay that I needed to stack. And in between all of those little notes from my initial farming experiences are these very strange first drafts of like my first real attempts at trying to write. And I love that they're in there because I reference that notebook all the time when I need to remember how to do things. And it's fun to see some of the initial versions, which I learned that when I try to write something, it's shitty.
Yes.
When I don't try and just let it flow out of me, it's incredible. So I no longer really draft with pen and paper any longer, but I think as I continue to explore, I'd like to. Now I just make sure to try to like capture every like little strike of inspiration, I don't know, that comes to me. So that is usually Google Docs, not shout out to Google, very accessible and easy to use, but not cool. And increasingly, I just have weird draft emails that I just open up and just like put little bits of language into, and then come back to and reintegrate. But as I continue to like play with writing, it's just I'm trying to remind myself to be exploratory. So I'm glad that you asked this question, because I would be curious to see what does happen if I return to pen and paper, particularly that, but other modes too. So thank you for the question.
And I have a question for both of you. This is going to be a little comprehensive, so if you do not immediately have a thought, take some time. But Mukethe, you really hit the nail on the head when it comes to how beautiful and synchronous you two coming together for this reading was, even though originally it was not supposed to be that way, given both of your mastery of performance, syntax, delivery, tone.
Right.
I mean, because there's something beautiful to sitting down reading a book, and you read something that's just devastating and you shed a tear. And there's something else to just the authority of a voice to move you to those tears. You know what I mean? I mean, there's this compounding effect when you have when all of these craft elements of syntax and cadence that are usually reserved for the stage are brought to such a humble thing like a page. And I am so curious how you all find that rhythm. So you can take this question in any number of ways for what you find most instrumental to your performance. So if you really focus on syntax and cadence, you can focus there, or have like if you want to have like a little conversation about alliteration or consonants and assonance, you can do that. But I mean, it would be impossible to ask either one of you about like, oh, talk about rhyming because that's too easy. Both of you have that in spades. But the way that both of you in your own ways it's like a chef, you know, all the sum is the dishes you make are more than the sum of their parts. Really just blew me away, and I would love to hear what you would have to say about how you create your dishes when it comes to those craft elements of cadence, tone, performance, volume, timing. Mukethe, we can maybe start with you.
Sure. I may have like a lot to say about this, so feel free to cut me off. Yeah, so writing is not something that I had thought about doing in the past. Like I said, someone told me to do it and I did it and I was like, cool, this is kind of fun. But performance is something that I haven't really done in the past, but have always wanted to do. I have often been asked in my life, oh, were you a theater kid? And I've always thought, no, I was poor living in the street as a child. But I wanted to be a theater kid. Like I clearly had that desire for performativity within me and didn't have a lot of opportunity when I was young. And then as I got older, I didn't have the courage and it felt like too late. As the chapbook was coming out and I was like orienting myself toward reading for the first time, I didn't know how I was going to find my way into the poems, but as I started just reading them aloud to myself, I was like, oh my God, this is the part I want. Like, this is the part that I care about. And it was suddenly like this thing that I wasn't sure if it was a strength or not about the collection, which I was like, God, it's like a lot of different voices. I feel like I actually haven't read a lot of chapbooks like that, but also that's what it feels like in my head. Like that's how I feel. That's how I talk. Like, I think it's just like some diaspora kid stuff. But as the different voices started to come out, as I was practicing it, I was like, oh, this is like really fun and also really representative of who you are. So I feel like it's kind of a goof I'm playing on society where like now I get to be the theater kid I always wanted to be through the poems. So I really like that aspect of it. But it's also just like revelatory. Like it makes me understand these different parts much more deeply and where they're coming from and what they're attached to. And the thing that I have been told my entire life, which is shut up, you're too loud. It's like
Never,
now
no.
I'm like exactly. I know, but I'm like just getting there. And it's
All right.
like the writing that
The
has brought
practice.
me. Yeah, it's like crazy. And I now I get to like be loud, and some people see it as a strength, and that's new. But it feels like a type of freedom that is like true to who I have always been. And growing up an immigrant kid in the South, growing up poor, being the only Black kid in whatever many spaces, it's just like it was always too Black, too queer, too masculine, all the things. And now I just get to like having all of that. And I just love the freedom of it. Yeah, because I'm new to it, I don't have like a lot of language to layer on top of it. And so much of it for me is just like finding what feels right. And you probably noticed I was like standing up. I didn't really think of myself as a physical being before I was farming. That's part of the reason I wanted to try it. And yeah, I have to feel it in my body. And it's lucky. I'm a manual laborer. Like I walk around the earth all day doing simple tasks. So I can just like read something a few times until I have the words in my head. And then it's just the goats hear a lot of
Good audience. They're a good
the goats
audience.
get a lot of the initial drafts. It's like I've never been in a writing workshop or a class or anything. My workshop is being out there with the goats and them hearing me read my poems. But it's
Goats are better than people. So
way better than people. I don't want to know what people have to say. They're just going to tell me I'm doing it wrong. I don't need to hear
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
You know what I need to hear?
that's right. That's right. I have for my background, I have a processing disorder, so every music is life. And when I was a child, I didn't speak. I spoke very late. I didn't have to speak. I was a baby in a very large family. I would just point, and so I learned to read very young. I didn't speak when I had to go to speech class, so that was interesting. But I could hear music better than I could hear words, or I could understand. And growing up, it's just spirit. It just happens. It's just in the writing. Um, and everything was always out loud first. So like the drafts are read out loud. They're revised out loud, because it all comes down to the musicality. One thing I like about poetry, when you say page and stage, I really like the fact that it's both, because I can publish something on the page and it can be in lines and stanzas. And this is going to send some people, they're going to be squirrely about this. But when I read it, if I want to break my stanza and I want to hang out a little bit longer on a certain word, I do it, because there's the poem that's on the page and then there's the poem that's on the stage. They both have their own energy, and sometimes yeah.
I appreciate you saying that, because I think that's a lesson that I think I'm just learning and maybe like inhabited for the first time today with some of these, where I'm sort of like, I'm actually gonna pause here.
It breaks all the rules, it
Yeah.
breaks rules, because the rules to poetry is like, oh, you stop at the end of the line, and if there's punctuation, you pay attention to the beats for that, and then the stanza. But sometimes it's just, I want to linger. I want to linger because the spirit wants to linger. And I know that sounds ridiculous. I'm sorry, guys, but it's just processing and music, and not music with words, just music.
Do you want to make an album together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I got the ukulele.
Sweet. I am the off clapper, but that's a beat too. So it's a different. But yes,
I think we would hit like some hot harmonies together, to be completely real.
you showed human kindness, so I'm your problem now. I'm gonna blow up your email and be like, we have got to hang out. So we have to do this again. No one will know what hit them.
What beautiful answers. Thank you both so much. And Dorinda, talking about like sometimes the spirit wants it. It makes me think, Mukethe mentioned in in an earlier poem, the late great Gil Scott, who is the founder of the synthesis, at least in modernity, of spoken word and musicality. And it's so incredible reading through some of his words and like thinking about how it might sound, and then you hear his delivery, which is so special, like because there's that spirit component to it. Or like, Jack Kerouac he's got his own problems, but he did an album with Steve Allen, a pianist who accompanied him, doing a bunch of poems that were kind of unremarkable on the page when I first read them. And then you hear where he hangs, where he speeds up. I think that is absolutely right in what both of you are getting at, where this like idea of academic continental poetry traditionalism is so tired and it's so stupid. I mean, all love to those who stand by the Iowa Writers Workshop, but I mean, truly, the Council of Goats is so much more soul nourishing than someone who's looking down their glasses at you saying like, where are we in this poem? It's like, man, I don't know what you want me to say. We're with the goats. We're with the spirit. Wow. We have time for about one more question. If folks want to ask some, we've run over time, but this has just been so brilliant that I do not have the constitution to cut us short. If any those of you listening have a question you would like to ask, you can ask it now. If not, I do have one more question to ask our folks, but I'm gonna give it some room if anyone wants to ask something, or if you two want to ask each other something, you may also do that.
I don't have any questions.
I love the weight of your work, and I love that you're unafraid of its weight, or I love that you feel unafraid of its weight. I suppose I wonder if when you approach a reading, if sometimes that worries you. Do you ever hesitate to bring some of that weight to an audience?
Every time. Every time. I'm terrified. Even before you popped in, I was telling Gardner and Aslan I'm nervous. Yeah. And that's another rule. You're never supposed to say that you're nervous. But again, F it. Like, I'm a human. I have feelings. These are my feelings. And there's power in saying these are my feelings. Yeah. How about you? Because, yeah, how were you?
I have been so silent about so much in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somehow, all of a sudden, there's like a weird platform that I'm being given some of the time.
It's not weird.
Anything that I'm doing, and I have to speak.
Yes.
Especially living out here in rural America, I'm like looking back at the last few years and some of the treatment that it has been the most beautiful years of my life, but
Yeah.
some of the treatment that I have received, some of the ways that I have like let people treat me and tell myself, I'm just going to orient myself toward the beauty. I'm just going to orient myself toward what I'm learning. That's like valid, but I need to be in truth.
Yeah.
Like part of that is bringing weight, because that's what life is.
And that's why I was like, don't be quiet. Be loud. Yeah.
Thank you, Dorinda. I don't think I have a choice.
No, you don't. You don't. The spirit, you don't.
But thank you. I appreciate that. Means so much coming from you.
Oh, shush. But
Oh my gosh. Thank you both so much for such a wonderful evening. I'll do our little conclusion before we get kicked out of the Zoom room. But this has been an emotionally winding, beautiful, lovely, soul-quaking, flourishing Poets in Pajamas episode 172, featuring the extraordinary and unforgettable work of Dorinda Wegener and Mukethe Kawinzi. Thank you both so much. In 2 weeks' time, we will return with episode 173, featuring the work of Kim Shirting and Evelyn Berry, which will be another extraordinary reading. As a final thing, Dorinda and Mukethe, where can folks find you in print and online if they want to keep following along your literary journey?
you go first.
You can find me at www.mukethekawinzi.com. Someone was kind enough to drop it in the chat already, but that's just first name, last name. I am not on any social media, but I love a long rambling email. So email me anytime at firstname.lastname@gmail. That's mukethe.kawinzi@gmail.com. I haven't yet signed a piece of paper regarding it, so I won't share too much information, but I do have a very weird collection of reinterpreted trickster folktales that recounts the racist treatment that I received working on a farm in Western Washington. Coming out from a very cool small press, as I said. I won't say quite anything yet, but that's on the horizon soon too, and I'm very, very excited about it. So keep your eyes open.
I am on www.dorindawegner.com is my website. You can contact me through that, or you can email me, dorindawegner@gmail.com. The book is available anywhere, so your favorite independent bookstore before Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, please, independent bookstores. I'm also on IG a lot because of the processing and the Instagram. Like, it works for me. Some people are really freaked out by it, but it really works for me. So that is at dorinda.wegener.poet. And I'm always there. I go in, a little, go in, come back.
Get
Thank
them
you
likes,
both.
Dorinda.
Some likes, yeah. Nothing like a little dopamine. But no, it's because it's pictures. It's all pictures, and I can process them so fast. You know, it's you would think that I would paint instead of words, but yeah.
Thank you both so much. This has been a beautiful way to spend a Sunday night, and I hope everyone has an incredible next week, and we will see you soon. Poets in Pajamas signing out. Thank you. Bye, everyone.